All right. Hello and welcome to Nexus Drafthouse. This is the first episode of this project I've been working on, a little experiment. And just to go over really quickly what we're doing here and what the point is, I've felt like for a long time that... Oh, let me introduce myself. My name is Sahara Drac from StormLegacy.com. It's a Heroes of the Storm fan site. And I am here with Mike Udall of Gale Esports. Hi, Mike.
Hey, man, dude. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on the show.
Thank you for coming
Drafting
on
is
the
very
first
important,
episode.
you know?
It is.
Hopefully, no more first pick Murkies in my Hero League games.
Well, that's kind of what made me want to do it. Is I feel like people don't think a lot about drafting, and obviously it's a really, really crucial part of the pro scene, but it's also really important in Hero League. And I figured with the ranked mode changes coming, a lot of people could benefit from learning how to draft, little subtleties of the draft, what to think about, what to do on certain maps. Because a lot of times people just, I'm scared of this hero, I'm banning this hero, and that's the end of it, you know. And there's definitely more to it than that. So,
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you for putting it on. I think the content will be really good for the scene and help all the Heroes players and hopefully make Hero League a better place.
That's the whole goal, is just to make my games better. That's why I'm doing it.
That's good.
So the game we're going to go over was from last week's regional qualifiers for Burbank. It's a game between Tempo Storm and Hot Dog Burglars. Are you familiar with Hot Dog Burglars? I have not watched many of their games. Have you played them or anything like that?
Yeah, so we've scrimmed against them a pretty decent amount. I'm not going to talk about their strats, but I know they have Spray on their team as well. And then I'm pretty sure it's Goat, Hosty, Proteges, and is it Boss Loss? I think I'm missing the last player. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, we'll find out.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, when we hop in. Oh, no, it's Buds, right? No, Buds is on THC. Oops.
I don't know. I've actually never watched them play, but it looked like an interesting draft, so I figured we'd go over it.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and get started with it right away. Actually, before I hit play, so we're on Battlefield of Eternity, and this is the first game between the two teams. So I'd like to go over two aspects when we talk about the draft. The pro aspect, where you're in this match against very high-skilled players, and you're a well-practiced, well-oiled machine of a team. And also what you should be thinking about at certain points in Hero League, just playing by yourself or with a buddy, you know. So on Battlefield of Eternity, your first pick, or rather first ban, what sort of things are you thinking about? And I guess, how much do you think about... Okay, so this is a good question for you to answer that I've wondered about. How much do you think about, okay, we want to build our comp, and how much do you think about, okay, we need to now counter their comp? Like what's the ratio?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think a lot of people have different drafting styles. I personally like to just think about our comp. So, yeah, if you know so like in competitive, there are teams that have like, I guess trademark heroes would be a good one. So, for example, Tempo Storm, Tomster, he's really well known for his Greymane. Like his Greymane is really, really strong. Whenever he gets to play it, like he's gonna dumpster people. So that might like pull a respect ban. Especially on this map because it does lots of really good damage on the Immortal. Mm-hmm. For me personally, I kind of like to just focus on our comp because you can get into a scenario where you focus too much on their comp and then you look at your comp and you have no synergy. So it's kind of like a balance of both, but I'd probably say it's more like 65% like focusing on your own comp than like 35% focusing on what the other team is trying to build. With picks at least. Like banning obviously is all about taking away what they want.
And do you think that's you personally, or do you think there are other teams that are more reactive in their drafts rather than comp building, or is it kind of universal?
I think some teams are more reactive, but I think the top, like Naventic, Cloud9, they more just draft what they want to play, and you're either gonna beat them or you're not. Does that make sense? Like
yeah, it does.
So I think that's kind of the better way to draft. It's like it forces it because being reactive in a game like this is just not good. Mm-hmm. You want to be the one like dictating the pace, dictating the control, and like draft is definitely like a huge part of the game. Right. Like you can lose the game in draft. Like a lot of games are locked in draft.
Right. So being aggressive in the game is not just for in game. It's good to be aggressive in the draft as well.
Exactly. Well, I mean, if you're an aggressive team, you have to draft an aggressive comp. So it's like playing around your strengths more than playing around your enemy's weaknesses.
Okay. So right before we hit play, you're in Hero League. You have the first ban. It's Battlefield of Eternity. Who do you ban right now in the meta?
Oh, I mean, I like banning Illidan.
Yeah.
Illidan's a pretty broken hero right now. He's kind of what people would call an OP. Um, Especially in Hero League because I really don't want my team to play Illidan. I don't trust a
Yeah.
lot of Illidans in Hero League,
Right.
unless I'm first pick. So I would say Illidan is a really strong pick, as well as on this map. I mean, so I'll just tell you a little bit more about Battlefield of Eternity as the map in general. So
Okay.
since like the main objective is a damage race, right?
Mhm.
Comps like double support, something like TAS, or like Rhaegar Brightwing are not as strong, especially in Hero League, so they don't really need to pull a draft. Because if the enemy team picks a TAS in Hero League, normally people just try to trade. Like normally people don't poke and like push out lanes or lanes in Hero League. So banning something that does a lot of really good damage, like I think Leeming, Illidan, KT is always a solid ban.
Sure.
Greymane, any of those four heroes are
So
solid.
Tyrande is a very popular hero, obviously for a lot of good reasons, especially in the pro scene. Is she like a super high priority on this map over others because of the immortal, or?
Yeah, she's a huge priority. That's another good ban. Thank you. I totally she was slipping my mind because her golem makes it so that she takes or the immortal takes 25% damage from all sources,
Right.
which instantly means you're gonna win the immortal. Also, Sylve is really strong on this map because if you ever get an immortal, you're essentially gonna get a fort or a keep. Like there's been first immortals in competitive games that get keeps.
Right. Right.
And so like that's another really good hero to ban or prioritize highly.
All right. Cool. I am going to hit play in 3, 2, 1, and we're gonna see who they decide to ban. Now, looks like the first ban was an instant Tassadar out of Hot Dog Burglars. So
Yeah,
like
so
you were
the reason
saying.
that
Go ahead.
yeah, well, I was gonna say TAS is kind of an enabler. So TAS is viewed as an enabler for melee assassins, and by enabler it means that it allows your melees to essentially like roam free. Like they can run in there and they're not really afraid of dying, so they can output a lot of their damage. She's like best pair. Or I don't even know if TAS is a she. TAS is best paired with
What? Wait,
I
hold
don't
on,
know,
hold
man.
on, hold on,
I
hold
don't know
on.
why I said that. TAS is for sure a male. I don't know what I was thinking.
You don't know? Okay, that's fine. I forgive you.
TAS would probably be best paired with Sonya, Illidan, Greymane, which are all like very strong heroes on this map. Especially Sonya and Greymane, they output a lot of damage onto the immortal.
Yeah, exactly. So, makes a lot of sense. Now, normally, this is our first episode, so I couldn't get a top draft of this to go at my own pace, and I couldn't get the replay. So we'll have to go with the stream's pace. But there you can see they instantly ban out Tyrande, like we were talking about there. Yeah, she just makes the immortal vulnerable, right? That's the main reason for her.
Yeah, well, you're never going to win the race, essentially. So if you ever get to the point where you just want to swap or your team's not a strong early game, you're never going to be able to do that. And also, Tron's really good with, like, CC chain comps. So especially from second pick, it's a good ban because first pick, normally, like, Leeming or KT are kind of the priority heroes. And KT Tron synergize really well just because the chain CC
Right.
into, like, insane burst damage. So say, like, you first pick KT and then follow up with Tron, Muradin, or Tron ETC. As like a reliable stun to follow off, like pretty much you can kill anyone with those three heroes. You can literally kill anyone in the game.
Right.
So
Okay, cool. Well, it looks like with the first pick, Hot Dog Burglars took Li Ming there. So, I mean, do you have? Is there anyone you would personally would prioritize over Li Ming as the first pick there? Would you take Kael'thas instead? Why would a team take Li Ming over Kael'thas?
So since Tastron, our first band, I think, and this is just kind of nuances. I think a first pick Rhaegar could have been pretty strong because if you look at it, there's the two mages are up, right? So Leeming and KT are both up, as well as Sonya and Illidan. So getting Rhaegar, who's also like kind of the best healer in the meta right now, and who's an enabler, would allow you to also follow up with one of the melee assassins as well as one of the mages. I really like the Sylve pick here. Sylve is really, really strong on this map. Like I said earlier, she, if you ever get an immortal, you're essentially just gonna win the game, and like it, one immortal with Sylve is worth like 2 or 3 immortals without Sylve.
Right. So I did pause it for a little bit there, just because the draft was getting ahead of us. But so they, with the first 2 picks on Tempo Storm, they took Sonya and Rhaegar. So they're opting, both teams opting to skip past the Kael'thas and opt for Sonya. And what is, I know Sonya is really big in a lot of the Asian scenes. What does she provide, especially on this map, that makes her a first pick candidate?
Her damage output is really high on this map. Also, Tempo Storm has a couple melee assassin players, so they always have to have elite. So they normally prioritize the melee assassin pretty high.
Right.
Also, she's just a really tanky frontline, so she's pretty good against Li Ming if you can get on top of her.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she's just solid. Like that's the pretty like the consistent like 1-2 in the Korean region is Sonya Rhaegar.
Right.
Just because they both have a lot of damage and like a lot of they're just like top tier heroes right now.
So with that in mind, and I'm gonna pause on this Sylvanas pick here. Sorry, just because they're going faster than I thought they would.
Yeah, no worries.
So Sonya obviously very powerful in the hands of Korean players and players like on Tempo Storm. Would you advise people, like this is where I'm talking about the difference, would you advise people to first pick Sonya in Hero League because she would you say her skill ceiling's a little higher to be effective, or does she just kind of play herself and you can just kind of roll over people with her?
Yeah, so Sonya I actually think is a really good like pub stomp Hero League hero.
Okay.
For a couple of reasons. First off, I think the ability to clear waves fast and take out mercs is really good in solo queue just because most people don't do it, right? Everyone just looks to run around and fight.
Right.
And you can get a lot of free experience and a lot of free objectives just by taking mercenary camps.
Okay.
As well as she is really tanky and does a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So normally teams aren't very good in Hero League at kiting back. Like everyone just wants to fight. And that's like when Sonya thrives. Like Sonya gets really punished if people kite her back, but if they just are standing there fighting, she's I think the top dealer, like damage dealer in the game.
Yeah, she's like a true bruiser. Like she can.
Yeah, exactly.
She best of both worlds kind of hero. So yeah, I'm surprised I don't see her play more in the North American scene, but it's cool to see her in this. So it looks like they're hovering Muradin now. Muradin on HOTS logs, since his avatar nerf has dropped way down in the win percentage, but he's still highly prioritized in the pro scene. Can you maybe reflect on that a little bit? Explain.
So Muradin has reliable CC, which is what you're like semi-reliable CC, which is what you're looking for in a tank. Having a Q that stuns for like 1.25 seconds or 1 second every 12 to 14 seconds,
right,
is like really really good. There's no one else like that except for ETC, but ETC has to slide in, which is really risky.
Leaves him vulnerable, right?
It looks like they're actually going to go with the Uther.
Yeah, they did. They switched over to the Uther. Uther doesn't get thought about a lot in Hero League, I think. He's kind of left as like a well, they banned the healers we want, at least in the level I'm at, which is complete plebeian. They don't seem to prioritize Uther, and I love Uther. So yeah, I mean, I think that.
I think mainly in solo queue, Uther's just, in my opinion, personally, I don't think Uther's the most fun hero to play.
Right.
I like playing like Brightwing, Rhaegar, Monk, but I just don't enjoy Uther in Hero League. So that's probably the biggest reason why. Uther, kind of like Rhaegar, is another really good enabler because you have the D shield, so it works really well with someone like a Sonya.
Right.
As well as it's good at mitigating burst damage, which Sonya does like a lot of. Mm-hmm. It looks like the ETC ban is coming out.
Yeah, good thing. ETC and the Kael'thas. Kael'thas is the final ban, I guess, just to kind of, and that's the huge difference I'm talking about. Like Kael'thas is like the most feared thing in the world on Battle.net, but he's a low priority ban in this game. So.
I think that mainly has to do with this map, just because Kael'thas's damage on the Immortal is actually not that high.
Right, and he's not very mobile, right? Like it's
exactly.
a big map. Yeah.
He's not very mobile. It's hard for him to poke at the Immortal. So say the enemy team's defending, Li Ming can just stand in the middle of the map and just poke like forever.
Right. And
you'll slowly whittle their Immortal down. Like KT can't really do that. All he has is a DQ every like 12 seconds. Greymane is a really solid pick here by Tempo Storm. I actually really like that. Like I said, Tomster's one of the best Greymanes in the world. And Greymane, I actually think, is the top dealer on the Immortal. So if like Greymane against anyone else, I'm pretty sure he does the top.
Sure.
Because you use his auto attack speed like buff, and then you just go melee for him, and you absolutely destroy the Immortal.
Yeah, Greymane is one of the heroes I play the most, and I love him on this map too. So yeah, it's a solid pick. And when he needs to be safe, he can be at range and still burn the Immortal pretty well too. So. So neither team has tanks now, and then you can see Tempo Storm going with the Arthas. What do you think of Arthas since his rework?
So Arthas is really good with Executioner comps. Okay, so Arthas is a really good tank. He does a lot of damage. So like I said, on this map, it's also really good because he's able to help you burn the Immortal. Like currently, the way you're looking at it, Tempo Storm has a much faster Immortal. So if like Hot Dog Buggers ever try to trade in this game, they're gonna lose.
Right.
And the Arthas is good at helping with that, and also level 16 Executioner got changed, where now it's like a 3 second if they're ever rooted, like all of your autos in the next 3 seconds. So that combos really well with Greymane, who like does insane auto damage with Executioner. As well as it's like a pretty reliable like tanky tank if the enemy team doesn't have a lot of CC. Like Arthas is a really good tank if the enemy team can't burst him before he can get his sustain from his Army of the Dead.
Right. I think you're right. He's a lot of fun to play now. I mean, he always was, but now he's really good. And speaking of tanks that got reworked and are really good, there's the Anubarak from Hot Dog Burglars. How do you feel about Anubarak, and how do you feel about him versus Arthas as far as picking your tank?
Is that a Lily also?
And also the Lily. Yeah. So you can talk about both those. Yeah, go for it.
But Hot Dog Burglars kind of, I mean, they have a comp in mind. I'm pretty sure if my brain remembers correctly, they go Water Dragon here. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Anubarak is it's Anubarak or Murden are the two tanks that they're mainly looking at here. Okay. And do they go Cocoon? I don't remember if they go Cocoon.
I don't know.
I guess they go Locust because the enemy team has like 4 melees right now, and Locust Storm gets a lot of value against a lot of melees, as well as it's like pretty good like AOE stuns for the Sylvan Li Ming. Mm-hmm. I mean, I probably would have gone Murden there just because I think he's. Actually, never mind. I think Anub's good because he has the double heals to keep him up, so you don't need like a really, really tanky tank.
Right. So they might do Cocoon, yeah, because of that. Just because they have 2 healers, which you don't see you see 2 support a lot, but you don't see Lili Uther a lot. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So looking at this draft before we fast forward to the game, what do you think? Who do you think won the draft and why?
I mean, I think Tempo Storm, in my opinion, they have a lot stronger heroes. But Hot Dog Burglars, like that being said, Hot Dog Burglars has Sylph. That's kind of the X factor for me. Mm-hmm. Sylvanas is so strong on this map. Like if Hot Dog Burglars ever get an Immortal, they're gonna probably get a keep. Right. Like they're gonna get a lot of value off of it. Mm-hmm. But I think if Tempo Storm just kind of plays the map and looks to trade on the Immortal, they should win the game. But Hot Dog Burglars, they definitely have something in mind with their Lili. That's like looks like a niche or a niche comp.
Right. They definitely have something specific in mind with that, is what you're saying. Like something they've practiced.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it might be really good against the melee assassins. I haven't practiced it, but like looking just at it on paper, I think Tempo Storm's comp is a lot stronger.
Okay. So I fast forwarded to the game. It's at 1:40 and 10 seconds. If you wanna go there, and then we won't need to pause anymore. So.
All right, I was gonna say I'm here whenever you're ready.
All right, let me switch over the stream. I'm not a pro at this stuff yet, but
me neither, man.
There we go. All right, ready? And 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, so what sort of things should we keep in mind when thinking about that draft while watching this game? Like, for example, when we're watching this game, we want to think about, well, what if they had Muradin there instead of Anubarak, things like that. So that's the sort of thing I want to talk about. That way people can see in action where your draft decisions start to cascade and have a domino effect in game, you know?
Yeah, so the big thing that Anubarak doesn't have that Muradin does is like his health pool and the amount of damage that the Muradin can take. So look for Stray, the person playing a noob, to get blown up. Because normally in most of those scenarios, Muradin would not die.
Right.
Exactly. So like they chain CC and he just gets insta-gib. That's something that would be less likely to happen if he was playing Muradin.
Right. And the thing that might make Anubarak all right is they pressure this top lane really heavily here, 4v1 right now.
Oh, and the Beetles.
Yeah, the Beetle looks like he went absorb. Is it Dampen Magic or Absorb Magic? I think it's Dampen Magic at level 1.
Yeah.
So they don't have a ton of CC on Tempo Storm other than once depending on what Arthas takes, I guess. So Anubarak could be a big factor here, but like you said, the Sylvanas is someone to keep an eye on this map for sure. So like that's something I didn't know. I've already learned something. Like I know Sylvanas is a good hero, but I never thought about her on this map pushing with like. I've seen it 100 times, but I've never been like, wow, that's good. I should
never
do
really
that.
Just clicked.
Yeah. So
don't worry, my team had to drill it into my brain. Yeah. I was like, I mean, Syl's good, but she's not that good. And then I picked her, and I was like, oh my god, this hero's insane. Well, and what you should do is you should just 5-man push. Like, you don't even need to soak the other lane because you're going to get a keep.
Right.
So, kind of what's happening right now is Hot Dog Burglars is just looking to out-sustain them because they have pretty good poke to the Sylv plus Li Ming. Mm-hmm. And they also have double healers, so the damage that is being outputted by Tempo is going to be healed up a lot faster than the other way around. So
Right.
they're just looking to poke at them and then essentially not get insta give, which is working out pretty well right now.
Yeah, that's good. Sorry, guess it's running a little choppy. I'm trying to fix that. So,
No worries. That's the worst. That always happens when I stream.
yeah. But
Tilts me.
I think I may have figured it out, but we'll see in a few seconds. So, anyways, until I figure that out, we can talk about this. So, yeah, I think an Uberak and the changes they made to an Uberak can really. I think of all the changes they made, those can be the biggest have the biggest impact on the meta if it goes that way. Just because his utility versus tankiness makes him really interesting for drafts. You know. So I'm happy to see an Uberak in this game for that reason. I want to see how he performs. You know.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to see if like a noob Arthas comes back because I remember that was like a double tank that people always used to run with like Syndragosa plus Locust Storm. So I mean, I would be happy to see that come back because it's a fun comp. So like interesting thing to note here, they're doing a 3-2, which is really good with the Lily because she blinds and all of Tempo Storm's damage, not all of it, but like a good majority of it is auto attack damage. So getting the blinds really slows down how fast they do the immortals.
Yeah. Yeah. The Lily Uther is going to be. Do you think that's a bigger hindrance or a bigger help in the early game, or where it tapers off in the late game? Obviously, because the damage is gonna outcurve the healing, or do you think Lily Uther could be enough in a typical situation to get you to the point where it doesn't matter? Because obviously the double healer here helped them a lot, you know.
Yeah, so I think the level. I think both.
Yeah.
So I think early game, the Lily Uther is really strong, but I think in the mid game, so I'd probably say from level like 7 to 16. Well, seven to like 19. I think Tempo Storm is gonna have the team fighting advantage, but very early game before they have ults and before they get a lot of like their power like damage power spikes, like the double healer is so annoying. But after level 20, I also think that Hot Dog Burger's comp is stronger because Lily at level 20 like becomes the best healer in the game with Kung Fu Hustle.
Right. So if you didn't have a plan in mind like Hot Dog Burgers obviously does with that Lily last pick, what might you have put in her place if you already have the Li Ming, Anubarak, Uther, Sylvanas?
I mean that's a pretty solid comp. I don't remember if Thrall was banned or not, but I think Thrall could have been pretty like really strong.
Yeah.
Because then you can look to go into Sunder, into Silence Arrow, into Leeming damage, and with Leeming, if you get a reset, you should win any team fight. So trading 1 for 1, does that make sense? So if you have 5v5 and you each trade a hero, but one team has Leeming, they should win because they instantly get a lot more damage. So that's kind of a good thing to know. So that's why blow up comps are really good with Leeming because it's just like a snowball effect.
Okay. Yeah. So I find it interesting. Like this draft is I kind of didn't expect this when I was picking this game because of the draft, but the double healer that's not Tyrande Tassadar is something I haven't seen a lot of at all. And so far, it's just been really cool to see them just be completely like, I don't care about you. We're just going to do whatever we want. It's early game.
Well, and what I was going to say is the Sylve is such a large part in that because the way that you really like the way that they would really punish the double healer, right, is you just kind of avoid them and counter push because you have more damage. Like you're going to push the wall faster than them because you have 3 damage dealers instead of 2. And the way that like you counteract that is you just have Sylve, right? Because no one can outpush Sylve unless it's like Asmo, Gazlo, like some crazy specialist comp.
Right.
So I think that's really well done by Hot Luck Burgers, is recognizing the weakness of the double support, and that's the you're gonna have a bad solo laner, and picking up the Sylve to kind of counteract that.
Right. So you watched this game previously when it was live with your teammates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have obviously matches coming up in Burbank. What sort of things that you were seeing that weekend? Because you qualified before this tournament took place. What sort of things, not just in this game, but overall that weekend, did you see that you kind of, I don't know, that you and your team may have noticed that like you're like thinking about, I guess, coming into Burbank?
I mean, I saw a higher priority on Rhaegar was a big one.
Yeah.
Rhaegar is kind of considered to be the best healer right now.
Yeah.
As well as tanks being picked up really early has kind of fallen out of the meta because people used to pick up Muradin in like the 1-2 or a CC tank in the 1-2, and you never see that anymore. Just because there are so many good tanks with Arthas and Anub'arak coming in, and even Diablo, like his Q getting reworked is a pretty big buff.
Mm-hmm.
So you still see like some of the chain CC comps, but I think you see a lot more viable damage and a lot more viable tanks. So
right. So you're
yeah.
so the Chromie patch was obviously pretty big. It obviously changed a lot of things. On a scale of like 1 to 10, how impactful do you think this patch has been on your meta?
I mean 10. I think this patch is really cool. I really enjoy it when a lot of things are viable and you can run a lot of different comps. And that is a really cool thing for me about this patch is pretty much all the tanks are viable. The only thing that's really like hindering is the support. Man, Hot Tech Boogers is doing really well with just posturing and letting the Leeming poke at it forever. And this kind of goes back to what I was talking about in draft on why Leeming is picked up over KT first pick on this map, is that Leeming about like 10 seconds ago she could just stand there and poke at that forever.
Right.
And Tempo Storm is forced to react because Hot Dog Boogers is eventually going to get the Immortal, but like it's really hard for them to come in, and Arthas tried to get a flank because they're watching every single flank and they have like pretty good blow up damage.
Yeah. So that's exactly, yeah. See, that's another thing I hadn't thought about. I like KT. I play a lot of KT, and like I'm just like, I don't think about why he might not be as good here. And yeah, like Li Ming can just hang back, like kick back in the middle of the map, like have a drink and just shoot magic orbs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah, she's just chilling, like having a good
she
time.
doesn't care at all. Whereas Kael'thas would be like stressing, like working so hard
Yeah,
to get
so
his damage
scared
in.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, playing scared, right? So yeah, that's interesting.
I'm pretty sure they get a keep here with the Sylvanas, which is and that's what Syl will do. This is the first mortal, right? Or this might be the second immortal.
It's the second, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the second immortal. But I mean, that's still a keep at 9 minutes into the game.
The immortal has one like a third of his shield still. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Again, I just didn't think about that. That's awesome. So yeah, the map is such a huge factor in your draft, which sounds obvious, right? Like it's like, yeah, of course it is, duh. But like when you really think about it, like I didn't think about that applying to heroes like Li Ming and KT, like heroes like Sylvanas. So yeah, I guess lesson 1 of Nexus Drafthouse so far, which is good, is you really got to think about not just like the basic obvious things that which heroes are strong on which maps, but like you really got to learn the map and the current meta really deeply to take advantage of the map you're on.
Yeah, I 100% agree, because I feel like in here, like a lot of people are just like, oh, I saw pros play this hero, like he must I see the pros pick this hero all the time, so he must be OP.
Right, but you gotta know why. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's the biggest thing, like the biggest thing in competitive that we're all trying to figure out is it's like, and this is constantly like it's like false positives, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So say we win a game and like what is the reason we won that game? Like is it because we were better mechanically and we just like outplayed them? Was it because we had like the Lily Uther? Is it because you have to like figure out why? So that's like a big thing is just constantly like asking yourself why you're picking that hero.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, I cast StarCraft 2. I played StarCraft and StarCraft 2 for years and years. I was in Master League and all that. And the biggest thing that got me there was not just watching the replays, but watching the replays I won. So, like, I think a lot of players don't watch replays in HOTS. Like, I know a lot of teams do. Like, Chair League teams, pro teams obviously watch a lot of replays. But, like, if you're just trying to get rank 1 or whatever, watching replays can be so beneficial for you, and it's not fun. It's like work, But like the things you learn from just from watching this game, or like watching games you win and asking yourself, well, why did we win? Was it me? Like or why did we lose? Was it me? Yeah, that's
exactly. It's asking your. I mean, I 100% agree with that. And a way to make it more fun, I guess, would be to watch it with friends and to learn more. Honestly, like to watch it with people that you think are pretty good, because they might look at something that you never would look at.
If I was casting this show by myself, I'd be like, Nubarak's cool. Oh man, why isn't Kael'thas here? But because I'm here with my friend Mike Udall, he's like, hey, look at this. I noticed this, and I'm like, wow, you're smart. Yeah. So.
Well, and that's why I love watching stuff with other roles. Like Akaface is a big guy that I watch replays with.
Yeah.
And he's our support player, and he'll be like, wow, like. Because I don't know how supports are supposed to position. Like totally I only know when you get caught, right? And he's like, wow, like we should be capitalizing on that. And I'm totally like, wait, why? Like explain it to me. Exactly. And it's just like the different perspectives from different roles. So this is Syndragosa comes out.
Yeah, big Syndrago. So he had a huge one earlier when they took that bot for it too.
Oh, that's a misclick on the D shield.
Yep, that is a full health Lily with a divine shield on her.
Very important, very important.
Yeah. One thing you want to do is also not miss your ults. Yes.
Yeah, a little important.
Yeah. So,
but this is even another thing. Is like the Lily is constantly blinding them, so it's taking them forever to get this immortal, which is buying them time for all their heroes to be up before the immortal is finished.
Right. So that's why they're sticking around there.
Yeah.
It's just to slow them down a little bit, rather because a lot of times you'll see them. Well, let's just go burn some shield or something.
Well, yeah, he just blinds and instantly runs away, which is good. It's kind of funny.
That's she's a little girl, man. Like, what is she even doing there with all these demons? Like,
pretty much
throwing tornadoes.
What even is the lore behind Lily?
Lily is Chen's niece.
Okay.
She, she's a little panda girl. She like does kung fu and stuff.
Me too. Same.
Yeah. So really, you can relate on a lot of levels.
Oh yeah.
With Lily.
Pretty much.
I'm more like Chen myself. Like, I just get shot in the face, and drink a lot of beer.
Hey, they want you to zoom the webpage in. And I just pulled up the chat, and I got a really good question from Captain Logan. I don't know, am I allowed to...
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I think it's great if they're asking questions.
He
said, when you start watching replays, what should you look for? And that's a very, very good question. So, for me, I try to focus solely on what I should do better. Because a lot of times, it's really hard. Like, you'll go into a replay and say, okay, so let's say someone instantly dies, right? Mm-hmm. It's like really hard to be like, okay, like if I would have done this, that fight would have been different, right? Because
it's really easy to be like, that guy sucks,
Yeah, that guy sucks. That's why we lost. Yeah. So like, try and like refrain from that. Also, like for me, like replays, I really try to watch like match objectives, like little things that I could have done better. So like less team fighting and more of like, I should have rotated bot here, or if I went and like sat in this bush, we would have gotten a kill, or like stuff like that. So it's more of like watching enemies' movements and like how I should have moved instead of like individual like team fighting mechanical mistakes. Because in my opinion, like those are always gonna happen. Like you're always gonna have mechanical mistakes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to like lessen them, but it's more of like the stuff that you have a lot more control over is like how you rotate, where you rotate, and why. Like that's the biggest thing is why you're rotating here.
Right. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, so I guess sum up the answer to that question is just trying to analyze your play in the game outside of all the other factors. Yeah, like the other, not the other factors, the other players. Like, when you're watching a replay, should you think about the other players at all? Should you be like, how can I help this guy who's clearly making mistakes, or do you just want to focus?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of that depends on your role too. It's like, so as like a range dealer, like when I play like range DPS and I'm like watching the flank, or if say Raffle's playing ranged and he's watching the flank as Falstad and I'm playing Thrall and I'm like, we could have totally coordinated to kill their person standing on the flank right here. Like if I sundered and Raffle did his damage, we could have killed him, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, your team is very important. And I think watching the enemy team is really important too, because like you can learn a lot about enemy movements, and same thing of like why are they doing those rotations, like what is the reason behind it, or like they got a really good gank here, and things like that, where you can just like learn from it and apply it to your own game. I would just say like having an open mind and trying. I mean, because obviously there are going to be times where it's like your team gets 5-man sundered, like it's going to be hard to win that team fight, and there's not really that much you can do.
Right.
But just like try and look at what you can do and what you can control and what you can change, I guess.
Yeah. So, because I think that's what a lot of people who came over from Dota and League of Legends and things like that, they're like, I don't know what I can do as an individual to get better at this game because it's so team reliant, like, and I think obviously that's why I'm putting together this sort of discussion is I think a draft's a big part of it, but also like, I guess my question is what kind of things can you do as an individual to just get better, you can't carry, like you can't.
Well, I mean, I think shot calling, like if you're going into Hero League and if you really want to try to grind to rank 1, first off, don't be toxic to your team because you'll never get better. Like if you're toxic, you're gonna lose your games like 99% of the time.
Right. I'm still working on that one, but yes.
Yeah, me too. But like as soon as I turn toxic, right, it just turns into a typing war.
Right.
But But like shot calling is a big thing. Like if you learn a good rotation, and like most people are pretty open to it. Like people want to win, right? And like like if you make good shot calls, they're gonna follow you. Like
Right.
if you're doing well, like they're gonna follow you and continue following you. So like pinging a bush or typing, be like, Uther, come to this bush with me. We can get a pick. Like it's a big thing. Like coordinating your team, because especially in Hero League, that's something that's very rare. Like going into bush camps and like getting wrecked. Like that doesn't really happen in Hero League.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
setting up those kinds of things of just like, hey, this is a really good idea. Like we'll be able to get good kills here, and then after that we can get the objective.
Right. Yeah. I'd love to see them implement some in-game voice chat for that reason, and
I 100% agree.
I think said they are doing that, but yeah. So there's the Sindragosa, the Divine Shield goes down the Lily again, but that time she actually needed it, so that's good. And yeah, I actually am really impressed. I've seen Tomster play Greymane before, but you're right, he really knows how to maximize his damage and stay safe, as safe as he can, you know.
But he's actually like one of the big ones that brought Greymane into the professional scene, because like when the hero first released, like no one really played him, and then he played him and just like destroyed some people, and everyone's like, wait a minute, this hero's actually really good.
Yeah.
And that was good times.
Yeah.
But that fought was really well played by Hot Dog Burglars, because essentially what they did is they didn't die in the Sindragosa, right? So yeah, their Sylve like died near the end of it, but they had their Li Ming, who's the most important person, survive, which meant that they would be able to like re-engage and chase them down.
Right. So yeah, the game actually ended up, it was looking pretty strong for Tempo Storm, but now it's like dead even in a lot of ways. Obviously they have both their keeps, so that's a big factor, but they're definitely climbing back in it. And actually, Anubarak was a big deal in that fight. For just his CC.
Did a lot of damage too with the Locust. Well, and that's kind of what I was saying is it's Hot Dog Bullets is going to run early. Their early game's really strong with the Sylve, but that they're kind of gonna get destroyed at mid game, right?
Yeah.
Because the Syndra Ghost is going to come out and all the damage is going to come out. But then late game, I think they'll come back, and that's kind of what's happening. It's like after level 16, they're starting to like Li Ming gets a really big power spike, Sylve gets a really big power spike.
Right.
And they're starting to essentially come back.
So that's another thing to think about, and a good question is there are early game, mid game, and late game spike comps. Like what kind of comps do you and your team favor? Obviously, you're pretty known for being pretty aggressive and bursty with a lot of your comps. Do you prefer late game comps? Like, does it depend on the map?
I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't really know if I have I prefer comps. I mean, I don't like really late game comps where you can't fight or you just lose team fights early to mid game.
Right.
So I guess I would say I prefer more like aggressive, like mid game to early game style comps.
Yeah.
But even that being said, like I think we run pretty much we like you have to like if you're playing on a pro level, you have to be able to run every single style of comp.
Right.
Otherwise you're gonna get punished. But I definitely prefer comps that I don't have to wait until level 20. That being said, we do run a lot of Asmo, so
yeah, that's true.
That's fun though. Asmo's a fun hero. Yeah, so I mean, looks like Hot Dog Burglars.
Yeah, they took that game 1 there, and yeah, the Anubarak was big there, as was the Lily Blinds and her heals, obviously. So interesting. Looking back on the game, draft wise only, like if you could go back in time, you're on Tempo Storm. What one hero in the draft, either ban or pick phase, would you have changed to win that game?
I think I know Thompson's a really good Greymane, but you need something that's not just auto attack damage. So I think picking up either something like a Falstad, because a good thing about Falstad is you can like force the engage, as well as it helps early game because you can global and then you can like. So say they had Uther soloing mid game, right? So say you have Falstad up there, he clears the wave and then flies down. You have a 5v4.
Right.
So you can really punish their early game as well as late game. You can force fights, which is really strong. So I think that Falstad probably would have been a pretty good change for either Vala or Greymane.
Vala or Greymane. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah.
That's probably the biggest change I'd make.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I actually looked like Tempo Storm had that for a while, and then at the end they just couldn't get through the late game comp of Hot Dog Burglars there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard. It's hard because you have to get a really good Sindragosa from the Arthas, which is it's hard that's putting a lot on one player, right? Like if you don't hit a good Sindri, we lose. Essentially, is what they're saying.
Yeah.
And by good Cindy, it means it has to hit the Leeming, and then the team is able to follow up on the Leeming. So, um, I don't know. It's just it's inconsistent. I mean, I guess it's like unfair in my opinion
Right.
to say if you don't hit a good Cindy, we lose. Like
Right.
that
Right. But it is a big
shouldn't
factor.
be how it is. Yeah.
Do you think they would have done better with ghouls?
No, I think they would have lost if they went ghouls.
Okay.
Because if they go ghouls, then they're essentially like, okay, we're gonna match you in a sustain fight, but you have two healers, so we're gonna
Right.
lose the sustain fight.
Right. Right. That's
So I think Cindy was the right thing, but I just think Gust would help with the Cindy because then you either can Cindy engage or Gust engage or Gust into Cindy. Like you Gust them into a wall and then Syndragosa and it's boom, easy win.
Right. That makes sense. So real quick before we wrap it up, your top priority picks and bans on Battlefield of Eternity. Let's say like top 2 of each.
Oh, I mean, I'm not gonna say from first or second pick because we do have a tournament coming up. But
Right. That's fine.
I'm just some top priority heroes I think are Sylv. For you saw, the Sylvanas is really strong because of the reason that the Immortal pushes really hard. I also think Greymane and Li Ming are really strong damage dealers. Because of the fact that Greymane, his burst on the Immortal is insane, and Li Ming, the poke, is really good.
Mhm.
And then also Rhaegar, he's just a priority on every single map. And then also Captain Logo is another question. He said, starting out in Hero League, when do you pick your hero based on the enemy picks versus what you're comfortable with? I would honestly say I think comfort is very important, especially in Hero League. I think comfort is really important. That being said, if the enemy team has like a KT chain CC comp, you should not pick someone like an Arthas who's going to get destroyed. You should pick someone like a Muradin or an Anub or an ETC with an escape.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's kind of a balance, but I would say normally lean more on the comfort because if you're like a 4K MMR player on your Muradin and then like a 2.5K MMR on your ETC, like it's
Right.
I'd rather have a 4K MMR Muradin that is not that is comfortable and like knows what he's doing and is not as good against the comp than a 2.5K ETC. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and you kind of answered that earlier too when you're saying when do you play reactive draft versus when do you just build the comp you're comfortable with, and it's kind of like you said, it kind of depends. But for the most part, you want to control the flow and do what you're comfortable with and go for the comp you want. Is that about right?
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm glad you came on and talked about that with us. We'd love to have you again sometime. We're going to be doing this weekly, and if you guys liked the show, thank you for watching. We're going to be talking about a lot more drafts. Sorry it was kind of choppy. I'm going to definitely work on fixing that. First episode bugs. It's in development at Blizzard, like they say. Yeah, we're working on it. But if you like the show, give us a follow at Storm Legacy Team on Twitter. You can follow this Twitch channel, and we'll be here along with the meta changes every week, and just talking about drafts, man. Like, you may think drafts are boring. Drafts aren't boring. You're boring. So
Draft is so important.
Yeah. So you can learn that, and the big rank changes coming. Every little bit helps. So we hope you join us again, and yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. You can follow Mike Udall. I have his Twitter there on the screen. It's